Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I thought that we would do a quick little check-in to see how Q1 is shaping up within my planner system, within my planner setup, see what's working, see what we're going to be making changes to pretty much immediately, and what is something that I'm kind of keep looking to make adjustments to, if that makes sense, because some of them are working really well and others are just being a bit excessive. So if you wanted to see my planner lineup and see how things are going for the first quarter of the year, then you have come to the right place. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just kind of get started. I have things categorized into journals or memory keepers and traveling systems or like on the go systems, and then things that kind of stay here. So why don't we first, let me just move things out of the way. So the first thing I wanted to start with that is like, so the first thing that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about is actually the traveler's notebook in passport size and the Hobonichi weeks. So they both serve a totally different purpose, and I'm slowly shifting the purpose of how I'm using my Hobonichi weeks. So I will talk about that in a moment. For now, let's get started with the traveler's notebook in passport size. So this is like an on-the-go system for me, but what has changed actually just recently is the way that I'm using the monthly. So this is the printed monthly that's coming from Traveler's Notebook. I'm not gonna do a full-blown flip through just because there's actually sensitive information here. But the way that I was using it in January, it was more like a memory keeper or something where I would write a few words about my day. It was very much functioning like a cute little decorative memory keeper. And then what it's slowly have, and February was very much the same. And then as of March, I kind of found myself not really using it very much. So then it looks blank, except I'm kind of writing in financial information. So I started using this as a finance reminder of things that are coming up. Again, I'm not going to do a flip through because there's really no point. But the way that I'm using it is I'm writing in all of the paydays, any payments that are going through electronically, and it really allows me to subsegment the month so that I can see what's coming up. If you do any type of financial planning, like honestly, I feel like this has been so missing from my system. And I think I was just really unclear as to what planner system would suit me the best for that purpose. So I really like that this is a standalone little booklet. I don't necessarily have to have it with me all the time, but I can just throw it in. I can check in with it once a week or once every 2 weeks whenever I'm updating our finances. And then it gives me an overlook of like what's happening, how much we paid for certain things. Because certain bills that we have also kind of comes out like every 2 months or every 3 months. So having something like this, and even I think that it also has like a little, and even using this section, I haven't started using this, but that's sort of the plan where I can see, okay, in March we were paying for water. The next time the bill will come out will probably be in May or June. Do you know what I mean? So like just things like that. I used to think that I needed to have this set up in like the ring bound planner, but I found that to be just a little bit too sporadic. And then the finance insert that I had for that planner was actually not functional for that purpose. So I will talk about that in a moment. But and then the other thing that is really, really working for me in this setup is actually the weekly. And I knew that I would love this only because I really like this layout and it's small and cute. But the way that I'm using it is slightly different than, I used to just use it as just a very functional, I don't even know if I have a, this would be like the closest to a very functional like planning that I used to do with very minimal decoration. And then it's sort of slowly evolving to me writing in all of the appointments and then also doing some micro journaling around it and then adding some decorative pieces. And it's just, it's so nice. It's like, obviously I haven't set up this week yet. I'm a little bit behind for this particular setup, but I'm really, really liking the smallness, the portability. And then the other insert that I have in here is actually, this is still my insert from Muji. It's like a dot grid blank notebook. I cannot wait to actually finish this up. So I might just start using this a little bit heavier than, like I'm about halfway done. So there's still a bit more to go. But just recently I've done a haul and I haven't actually shown you guys this. But I bought these notebooks and like, look how beautiful they are. They're just like the prettiest. And these are actually the ones that I prefer. These are actually the ones that I prefer. This is from Yomamoto paper. And I prefer these over the Muji ones, but the Muji ones are just so easily accessible that, you know, whenever I have it, I just kind of want to use them up and then get a move on it. I kind of use this more like a daily planner slash journaler slash memory keeper, but really it's more like a commonplace book. I do have some categories set up at the front, and so far it's working really well. My only beef with this is that sometimes I forget to restock these dot stickers. So whenever I want to kind of categorize things, it kind of becomes redundant because I don't actually have the sticker to categorize it. But that's user, that's on me. That's not necessarily the system's fault. And the only other thing that I have in here is this leather insert wallet situation. I will probably end up using this for something. Right now, I don't really have too much of a purpose for it, but I would love to add a couple of like journaling cards or something like that. Like I do have those little cards where you can like wrap washi tape around it, and I think that this would be really great for that. And I do have a little sticker sheet here, but again, like we can totally use this as a wallet. It would be highly functional for that. So I love the system. Everything is working for me. I'm going to keep using it. And it's just cute and portable, and it makes me very happy. And I love that I can add all of the information in there that I tend to forget sometimes. Now let's talk about the Hobonichi weeks. I've been neglecting this pretty heavily in the past couple of months, actually. As you can tell, like I would fill it out, but it would just feel really redundant, especially for the month of March. It wasn't too much that was happening. I wasn't really filling out the reflections. I wasn't really checking in with it. Most of my spreads were really empty, or I just wouldn't even fill it out at all for like multiple weeks. I don't know. I felt really uninspired to use it until I realized that the reason why this was not really working was because I wasn't using it appropriately. I was trying to check in with this along with the traveler's notebook, along with the small TN. And that's not really the point. This can be my main daily functional driver on the go. I can use the note section for exactly what it is, and then I can transfer information from here to the other notebooks or other systems that I use for that specific purpose. So I'll give you an example so that hopefully this makes sense. So if I have like a brief, like let's say video idea where I just write down like 5 bullet points, I can actually use this system that I set up like a while ago. These are just 2 notebooks that I added in from Midori. And one of them, these are both B6 Slims. B6, is it B6 or B6 Slim? I think this is B6 Slim. Does it tell you? I honestly can't remember. I think it's a B6 Slim. Yeah, it is. So I can write like more of a longer format notes about that same video, but then at least like the chunk of it, like the outline of it is already like captured somewhere else, especially if the idea comes to me when I'm on the go. And then the other one that I have in here, this is sort of like a scheduling system where I have both a monthly layout and notes that I usually use to schedule things in. This whole system might actually evolve to become something that I use online, something like Notion, where I just transfer all of this and more online. Right now, I kind of like the fact that when I'm on the go and I want to write or outline certain videos, then I have that journaling or like that notebook system with me where I can do that. I don't necessarily have to use a computer. So that's why this is working, but I like that I can start it here. And this gives me a really nice overview of what the week is looking like. And then I can also check in with my tracker. I can check in with any of the events, but I'm not using this small space for everything. I'm using this more just as kind of like a quick like overview. So this as an on-the-go planner that is related to every aspect of my life, along with the TN that just has mainly work-related stuff in there, but it also allows me to also memory keep. Those are both of my like on-the-go systems of both planning and journaling. And I don't really do any journaling in here. Like I said, like I just use the note section more like as a bullet journal and for capturing ideas in case I don't have like a notebook with me. But and as soon as I started using it for that purpose, this has become, it's like my 15-minute quick little check-in. You know, and I can do this. This is something that I can use in the morning. Same thing with the TN. Like these two can be a quick little thing that I use in the morning, and then at the end of the night, I can also use like more of a larger format, longer check-ins and pre-planning. So that's it about the Hobonichi weeks. Now let's talk about some of the larger planners that I have, and then we can kind of figure things out from there. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the Traveler's Notebook. I do enjoy it. I need to still fix this. I keep saying this, but I just have to find the glue to be able to do it. I like this. I didn't realize that I needed to kind of shift my habits just slightly. And I kind of briefly talked about this in my previous video. In case you haven't had a chance to check that out, I will just put it right in the cards for you. But I thought that I needed to check in with this, and I had to check in with all of the other two planners at the same time in the morning or midway through the morning, and I've had a really hard time keeping up with this. And it's not to say that I wasn't filling it out, but I just wasn't checking in with this. I wasn't really utilizing it for what it is. Meanwhile, I have a full category here for social media, for reflections, for like actual memory keeping, just because the space is large enough. Like it's sort of like a bigger brother for the Hobonichi weeks. And I wasn't using it for that purpose. And it's so crazy to me now looking back, because it packs so much info and it's so wonderful for that, especially this weekly layout. Like the weekly layout, I absolutely love this. I love everything about this. I love the size. I love that it feels spacious. If I want to add lots of information, I can. If I don't want to, then I can add decoration. So it definitely is more of a creativity outlet, and I love sitting with this. So I guess what I'm really realizing in the past few months is that some of the elements that were not working, especially on weeks when it wasn't getting really filled out, was because I wasn't scheduling it in. I wasn't throwing it into my routine in a way that it actually fits my lifestyle. So that's more of a user error again. But now that I'm kind of starting to use it the way that it was meant for, my only thing that I would shift about this is to use the daily journal a little bit more regularly. I'm really irregular with updating this, even though I do enjoy journaling in here. I kind of hate the white paper though. Honestly, like once you're used to the cream colored paper, it's so hard for me to jump to this white dot grid paper. So that's like partially one of my beef with this insert in particular. I did actually bring in a new insert. This is from Baumkuchen, and this is more of a cream colored insert, and I'm using this as a daily planner essentially. I'm using this essentially as like a daily planning system where it's more of a commonplace book type of thing. So something that I would use in the commonplace book. Like that's essentially, it's really similar to like how I'm using this. I will probably use this to like just set up my different categories, and then that way I can constantly check in. But this is sort of my daily planner / journal. If this doesn't work for me moving forward, like I'm giving it a little bit more time to see if I'm keep enjoying this, because I don't know, it's fine, but it's not my favorite thing to use. So if this doesn't work, then I'm probably going to try the daily journal from Midori, because Midori has like this one page where you can kind of do like daily journaling, and that seems pretty good. But for now, obviously, I want to use up the inserts that I already have. And then the only other thing that I have here, I still have the monthly. The monthly, I'm really using it more for memory keeping and things like that. There isn't too much to kind of look back on. I really like that it's very spacious, and I can add decor if I want to. Like I really love everything about this spread. So for that reason, like I really like this, but I don't necessarily keep this in here tucked in, because I also don't like bulking up the system. So this is usually just on the outside right here. The only other thing that I usually have in here is this folder. This one is the Coffee and Notebooks one from Midori, from Traveler's Notebook. And I just have like a whole bunch of stickers here. And usually I just kind of tuck it in, and then that way I have access to all of my decoration whenever I need it. So that's it about the traveler's notebook. It's sort of like some aspect of it is really working for me. Some aspect of it, it still needs some tweaking, and that's totally fine. I think that's kind of part of the deal of just like really figuring out what are your habits, and also what is your schedule looking like right now? Like how much mental space do you have available to use this particular system? And I'm really trying to be honest with myself of what system actually works for me. What is something that I'm regularly reaching for versus what is something that I feel obligated to use. So that's it about this one. And then last but not least, you have probably seen me talk a little bit about the rings planner. This is the VDS cover. I absolutely love this, by the way. And I've been really enjoying using some of the inserts and the dashboards and things like that that were coming in from Infinite Lotus. But if I'm being really honest, if I'm not getting new things for this, I don't have like a regular routine when I'm really inspired to check in with this planner. I like that most of my inserts are undated. Like this one is from Infinite Lotus, for example. I like the travel wish list. Like I like all of these different elements, but I just don't feel inspired to check in with this. So sometimes when I do, and when I end up actually using it, I really like it because this gives me a similar overview. So actually, to be really fair, while I was not using my my Hobonichi weeks, I was actually using this. So they kind of, I was using them interchangeably, but when I would set up this weekly layout, it's just as quick as me setting up my Hobonichi weeks. And, you know, it's very minimal with decoration. It gives me enough space for me to write exactly what's happening for the week. Like, I really love everything about this. But right now, like, I also feel like this is not as travel friendly as the Hobonichi weeks, for example. And I think that in of itself kind of changes the way I look at this because it's not as portable. Like maybe if I had like a different insert, a different cover for it, I don't see myself investing another cover, but I might switch up some of the inserts to make it a bit more functional for what I need. Right now, I don't absolutely feel like I need inserts for this because I have enough inserts for me to do both journaling, intention setting, all the things. And like, it's totally fine. Like I have a few of these blank dailies that are really nice. I have more weeklies. So I mean, like I have enough inserts that I can use up, but it's just a matter of just like, really, am I using this functionally or am I duplicating information? So, because I don't need like 4 planners that says the exact same thing. You know what I mean? But I also love using up some of these icons and things like that. So that part, so I'm very undecided about this now that we've rambled on for too long. So that's it about this. And it's sort of like I love it / confused about it because I don't want to duplicate things. That's how I feel. One thing I wanted to mention, because I told you that I would kind of briefly talk about this, is actually going back to the rings planner. In the finance update, so like remember how I was telling you that in my Midori, I'm starting to use it more for finance. And to be really fair, I could technically add a blank notebook that could be just for finance only, and then have that as an on-the-go, like an expense tracker or something along those lines. I do have some inserts, and these are printables that would like list all the income, savings, fixed expenses, variable expenses. I used to use this religiously, actually. And then, but I mean, my issue was that for some reason, my printer was just not cooperating. And then this was sort of like my expenses. And it used to be really cool. But then, I don't know, like eventually I just got really tired of printing these, especially when it wouldn't be to size. And then I also kind of feel like there would just be inserts everywhere. And I didn't really realize that I needed something that doesn't have like these ring inserts, but it's in like a cohesive book. And now reflecting back, I now know why I don't keep track of finances in this book in particular, or in this ring bound system in particular. And it's because I can't look back into the previous months because I don't keep them here. Generally speaking, I keep about a month worth of inserts here at any given time. Could I leave like the whole year? I probably could. But I also always feel like I'm going to like really, really bulk up the planner if I use it for that. But I don't know. Maybe I will think about this a little bit because Could I convert this into like a full finance bundle, like planner with like all the pockets and everything, and then have some inserts that would have like what I have here with the cash stuffing? Because like most of these inserts could come in here and it would actually be a lot more aesthetically pleasing than what I have right now. So that's definitely something to think about. There is a way to kind of to fully convert this entire system into a finance planner with like aesthetic little, you know, cards and reminders, and then every single insert here cohesively works together between a monthly and a weekly, all to add reminders and updates and financial information and, you know, investment updates and all the things that I really don't have an outlet for tracking at the moment. So yeah, that's just me thinking out loud, but I know that I know I don't need another insert in here that just gives me a weekly when I already have two planners that gives me the weekly. So, but I really love the system itself. Like I really love the way it feels. I love the dots. I love all of that. But again, this feels very functional to me. So maybe this will actually become my finance planner. I don't know. Definitely something to think about. Right now, that's not how it functions in my life. So, but maybe it should. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Maybe we'll take a general vote for this, but I definitely wanted to kind of just briefly mention that. Now let's talk a little bit about journals, and there aren't too many to really speak of. The ones that I check in with daily is actually the 5-year from Midori. So I'm relatively up to date with this, leading all the way up to, I know that I'm a few days behind considering today is like the 15th, so I'm about 3 or 4 days behind, not a big deal. But I like that you have like a few lines that you can kind of write down what's happening with you and then you check in. And so like I've been really liking this. I'm not even going to really, I don't want to say I'm not going to count this as a journal because really it's like you write one sentence and that's basically it. Now, as far as journals are concerned, I have this as an always journal. So this is something that I check in with periodically. These are more like my long format writing. And I do this whenever I actually feel inspired to. So I think like the last time that I've done a check-in with this was back in October. No, December 2024. So as of 2025, I haven't really done anything in this notebook. This is an A5 size daily journal from Midori. Your pages it's like a light blue and in a cream colored page. And then you have like this perforated edges, which kind of shows you where you're at. So this is a sometimes when I really feel like writing a bit more. And then that leaves us to the take a note. As I mentioned a little bit earlier in if you haven't seen any of my videos when we were talking about the Hobonichi Hun, I swapped it for the take a note in a B6 size, and this is in a medium. And I like the monthlies. I like that I can add all the decorations whenever I feel like it. Obviously for April, we haven't really set anything up. And then I also really like how this lays totally flat. So these are just some of the weeks that I have done. The weekly is really nice because it subsegments the top and the bottom. And I don't know, for like memory keeping, it's lots of fun. And I added up, like I added all of these different categories that makes it very functional and very structured. So that part is really cool. But I mean, this week, like last week, I completely skipped it. And that's okay. So now here we are on this week. And so, but I don't feel pressure to check in with this. I use the dailies sometimes when I feel like it. And when I don't feel like it, I just completely leave it blank. But I started to do a little bit of goal setting for April. And I sort of take that pressure off that when I'm crunched for time or mentally I just don't feel like I really want to do this, then I just leave it blank. So when I feel like checking in and journaling a little bit more, I do. And when I don't, I just kind of let it be. And I think that that's an important note to make because we put so much pressure on ourselves to constantly update everything. And then it's almost like you're a failure if you can't keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like this serves a purpose of memory keeping for me and my family. So it has memories of my kids and the things that they have said, the things that they have experienced. So I really wanted to have like an outlet where it's like one booklet that has things about them as well, not just about my own experience. And so I really love it for that purpose. And like, honestly, this to me really competes with the Hobonichi cousin, but sometimes I do miss having a structured daily. So I don't know. I have like weird feelings about comparing this to the cousin, just because there's some elements that are really working within that planner, and there's some that really work really well for me here. I do find this to be a lot less pressure. So do with that as you will. And this one is a wop, but I mean, I feel like I'm gonna have to kind of figure something out for this, just because I like this. I like this. This is the Midori Hibino for 2026. This is a daily journal, and I stopped using it, and I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of get back in. One of my things with this is, besides the size, is that the grid is tiny. And sometimes, especially when my eyes are tired, I have a hard time staying within the grid, and I refuse to wear glasses because I'm just weird that way. So that, plus, I don't know, sometimes I really don't want to write very small. And sometimes I just feel the pressure to write anything at all. And maybe because it's small, I could keep this with me, but then what's the point of keeping this with me for daily journaling when I already have the traveler's notebook? So see how it like kind of creates like a vicious cycle. To be really fair, right now, I don't have like one dedicated space where I can just write all about my day and actually memory keep about that specific day that is in a dated setup. So I don't know, like I know that in the summertime, like my routine and my schedule changes a bit, and then I end up going to the pool, and that's sort of when this becomes a really nice on-the-go system where I can do a lot more daily journaling and decoration. So I don't know if moving into the spring and summer, things will shift with my routine or not. So I don't want to fully let this go, but I'm kind of bummed that I just don't take time to do any planning in it, because it is still so cute. Like, I mean, when I actually decorate it, I really enjoy looking through it, and it does inspire me to keep wanting to use it. So I don't know, but it's one of those things where I don't want to ever feel, again, like I don't want to feel pressured that I have to use it just for the sake of having to use it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes at some point, if I look at like a planner system or a journal as not a creative outlet or not something that I'm inspired to do, but it feels more like a chore, that's when I know that the system is no longer working for me based on where I'm at right now. So do with that as you will. But that's basically, I feel like we've gone through all of them. That's basically everything that I wanted to share with you. As far as accessories, we will kind of talk a little bit more about what has been working in the past 3 months. You will probably see most of those things in the monthly favorites really soon, because I usually do like a monthly check-in with each of them. But I feel like we're doing fairly well when it comes to like notebooks and planner systems, and they are starting to work cohesively together to actually help me. Okay, this is basically all I wanted to share with you now that we've chatted for 30 minutes here. But I would love to know, let's do a quick little check-in with you as well, so you can let me know how your planner system is working for you for the first quarter of the year. How's 2025 working for you? It's been a crazy like first 3 months, 4 months, first quarter, really. It's been just so many things that are happening and changing. It feels like on a daily basis. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, you can obviously support the channel by giving it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe if you haven't had a chance to already. I would love to have you here in the community. And in the meanwhile, just keep planning, keep journaling, keep doing all the things that make you really happy. And I cannot wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye.